How are you? I believe this is your first fight in front of a crowd since January 2020. Is that correct? Yeah. So how's it feel? I know it's quote unquote enemy territory, but how's it feel to be fighting in front of a crowd again?
I haven't put too much thought into the fact that it's enemy territory. I'm just excited to fight in a big cage, big arena, big show, all that excitement that fans bring. It's enemy territory, I guess, because he's from here and I'm not. But to me, like if you're a fan that pays your hard-earned money to support what we do, then I don't know, you're not an enemy. Like if you show up and you boo me, you're still giving energy to what we're doing, and you're still taking part in this thing that we do. So I'm excited to fight in front of a crowd again, whether they're rooting for me or not. It's exciting.
And at this point in your career, do you like the travel and stuff like that, or would you rather fight close to home?
I'd rather fight close to home probably, but if I have the choice. But I've gotten to do that so many times that it's nice to kind of switch things up and mix things up a little bit, and be able to explore a new part of the world with my team, my girlfriend, and people that I love, and have some new experiences and some new places. And after I win this fight Saturday, I'm going to go to explore a little bit, go to Rome and see some great historical stuff. I'm a history nerd, so to be able to go see some historical stuff might come as a surprise to you guys, but there's not a lot of history in Northern California. I love Northern California, but there's not a lot of coliseums and old buildings and history. So it's cool to be in Europe and see all these old buildings and see all this history, and it's been a great experience. So yeah, as much as I'd like to fight close to home, that's nice. It's also a beautiful experience to travel the world and get to do what you love.
And I know you said you didn't pay too much mind to the whole enemy territory thing, but you have excelled before. You've beaten Felipe Arantes in Brazil, Mowgli Benitez in Mexico. So is there part of it that maybe
I beat Artem in Poland, which is close enough. Like whatever,
Yeah. So is part of you kind of thrive in that position, maybe?
Yeah, it's just a fight, Like I've done this so long, and there's still always going to be nerves and excitement, and but I've done this for so long, and I've been doing this is my whole life. This is my whole career. This is what I am, So it doesn't matter where we're at or who's watching or whatever is going on outside the cage. There's just me and him in the cage, and as long as I perform the way I know I can perform it, nothing else really matters.
And Nathaniel is 2-0 since moving up to featherweight. Was he on your radar at all?
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of him. He's a great fighter. He's he came up from 35, and he was good at 35 as well too. He's a great fighter, and I look forward to testing myself against him.
One last one from me. There's been a lot of debate on who the featherweight GOAT is. Wanted to get your opinion on who you think the greatest featherweight of all time is.
I would say Artem Lobov. I beat him, so you're looking at him.
Thank you.
No, Jose Aldo is the answer for me. Jose Aldo is the answer for me. Jose Aldo's on my Mount Rushmore. I think Jose Aldo is an incredible fighter, once in a lifetime fighter. He's incredible. I think you got to throw Max Holloway's name in there too. Shout out to Max Holloway. I love the dude. He's a great person, and he was a great champion. And also a lot of respect to Volk, because Volk has been doing some really special things. It's been cool to see everything that Volk has accomplished. So, I mean, those are all, like, everyone that's a 45er is my competition, but I don't have any, like, jealousy or envy. Like, that's not a trait that I have. Like, I'm focused on myself. So I can look at someone like Volk and, like, it's really cool to see what he's done. Holloway I consider a friend, and I loved seeing Holloway win fights and do well. But to me, the GOAT at 45 is Aldo. It'll always be Aldo.
Andre, this year is the UFC's 30th.
Yeah.
You've been in the UFC for a third of that. I think in October it'll be 10
Well, I'm going to head out.
It'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
What's the secret to being able to stick around on the sport's biggest stage for that long?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's like people have asked me about that 10-year mark. I think September is 10 years. People have asked me about that 10-year mark a lot this weekend. And it's a weird thing. Like, it doesn't feel like 10 years. You just wake up one day and you've been doing it for 10 years. I think the secret is just really doing what you love, being passionate about what you love, staying young at heart. I'm also a student. I'm always learning. Like, I learn from guys who are younger than me. I learn from guys who are older than me. I learn from guys who are retired. I learn from guys who aren't even in the UFC yet. I learn from everyone. I'm a student, and I don't think of myself like this 10-year veteran. I'm not like, in my head, when I think of myself, I'm not a 33-year-old guy who's done this forever and has all the answers and has been through everything twice. I'm still 23. I'm still new. I still have a lot to prove. I'm still excited and young. And this is my mentality. Like, I don't feel 33. I don't feel like a 10-year veteran. I don't feel like a guy who's done everything. Like, I feel like a young, hungry kid. Like, I love this shit. I think when you do what you love, you could do it forever, you know? And, I've said this a few times this weekend, like, Jim Miller looks the best he's ever looked. Dustin Poirier looks the best he's ever looked. Glover Teixeira just won a belt at 42. Like, you guys might be stuck with me for another 10 years, dude. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I've been in the UFC 10 years, but I'm only 33. Like, you guys are stuck with me. And I love the sport. I ain't going anywhere. So I think that's part of it, you know? Part of the longevity is just that I really love this shit, and there's nothing else I would rather do.
So over the course of those 10 years, what's been the biggest change you've seen in the sport, and what's been the biggest change you've seen in yourself over that period of time?
The biggest change I've seen in the sport is the UFC really stepping the game up and getting the PI set, and like the PI nutritionist. So shout out to Charles. He's incredible, man. He's my nutritionist from the PI. You know, the PI does, they handle not handle because you're the one that still has to do the work, but they set you up for success in every step. Like, they'll help you with your food, they'll help you with your supplements, they'll help you with your sleep routine. The amount of resources that fighters have now is incredible. That's the one and only time that I feel like the old guy. When the young guys get to the UFC and I'm like, yo, back in my day when we cut weight, we had to die. We had to do this, we had to do that. And now when guys cut weight, it's like a streamlined process because the UFC has the PI and the PI nutritionist and strength conditioning coaches and all the resources. It's just huge. It's a beautiful thing to see. And I think the UFC has done something really special with the PI and the resources for fighters. So that's the biggest advancement in the sport. The biggest advancement for myself is just the personal growth. You know, obviously you get better at fighting. I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm a more technical fighter everywhere. But that's not the biggest growth. The biggest growth for me has been my relationship with myself. You know, when I first got in the UFC, I pushed myself in a way that I think was important to get here. But it's not sustainable for 10 years. It's not sustainable for a long, healthy career. It's not sustainable for a happy, healthy life. You know, I pushed myself in a way where, you know, I never stopped to pat myself on the back. I never appreciated myself. My inner dialogue to myself was always harsh. I was never kind to myself. I hated myself at a certain point. And you know, I don't know if it's age or wisdom or some of the things I've been practicing, like gratitude journals and these exercises. I could be a combination of all of them, but I've grown in a way where I love myself, you know, and even being able to say that in a room full of people is something that at any other point in my life, like, I would have never been able to say that. So that's been a huge growth for me, and I think it's affected my life outside of fighting immensely, but it's also immensely positively affected my life in fighting, because as much as you need to push yourself and as much as you need to be hard on yourself and be disciplined and always demand more from yourself and have a little chip on your shoulder and be angry and all these things that make you a great fighter, it's also really important to love yourself and to take care of yourself and to treat yourself with kindness. And that's something I wasn't even able to do until recently, and it's a game changer.
Thanks for sharing that. And just one more from me, just to get back to the actual fight itself. You look at Nathaniel Wood as an opponent. You say he's come up from bantamweight, obviously, and he was doing okay at bantamweight, as you said. What do you see as an opponent, and where do you see your skills sort of matching up in the cage?
He's tough. He's aggressive. He's a dynamic striker. He's a high-level fighter. You know, I think everyone at this level, at this day and age in MMA, is going to bring a complete, well-rounded game, and I would say the same for him. You know, he's tough. He's got great boxing. He's got great low kicks. He trains with Brad Pickett, I believe. He's obviously got a wealth of experience. You know, Brad Pickett's a legend, and he's got him in his corner. You know, I've got Danny Castillo, who's another legend. It's like, this is the game now. You know, like, we're all dudes who are good at everything. We've got veterans of the sport in our corner, and we're going to put on a show for you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Andre, just over here. You know, you've been in there with some of the best in the division. Where do you see your strengths in this fight?
I think I'm better everywhere, to be completely honest. I think I'm a better striker. I'm a better grappler. I don't know how much of that you'll see. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting striking battle. Bit of a pissing contest probably, because the crowd will be cheering and he'll want to put on a show and I'll want to put on a show. But I just think I match up. The way that I'm built like an alien. I'm 5'11". I got 74-inch reach. I got long, skinny legs. I'm a creature, you know. I'm built for fighting. I got crazy. My feet are like, I wear a size 13 shoe. Like, I'm built to fight. I'm built to throw head kicks. I'm built to throw body kicks. I'm built to throw punches. I match up well with everyone in this division. Like, there isn't a 45 I don't match up with, you know. And this is no exception. It's going to be really exciting.
And you were forced out of your last fight in February due to emergency eye surgery. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just a little freak accident thing in training, you know, no big deal. Like, it sounds worse than it is. Emergency eye surgery sounds like worse than it is. Was no big deal. Just a little freak accident type thing in training. Kind of a blessing in disguise. It's just a reminder, like, what we do is dangerous sometimes. You know, you gotta treat it for what it is. Like, you get used to just clocking in and out of your job. You go to training, you go home, but it's not. It's a little reminder that what we do can be dangerous, and you got to treat it with respect and appreciation. And in a way, it was a blessing in disguise, because I don't think there's ever been a period where I had a 3-month period where I had to just, like, go slow, like, settle my ass down, and if I wanted to train, it had to be slow technique, you know. And so it was really good for me. My body got to heal up, and you know, everything is about how you frame it, right? So yeah, I had a little emergency surgery, but the surgery was a success, and I got to spend 3 months working on technique, and it was really good for me, and my body got to heal up, and now I feel great.
And you mentioned Volkanovski as one of the GOATs in the division.
Yeah.
What did you think about his performance against Yair? Obviously, Yair is someone that you've been in there with. Yeah,
I thought it was incredible. I think Yair is an incredibly dangerous guy. I know from experience. It's another fight I would love to run back. Yair is an incredible fighter, and I thought the way that Volkanovski fought him was exactly how you have to fight him. You saw Frankie Edgar do it a few years before. I think Volkanovski did even better. I think Volkanovski's from a technical standpoint, like, a really special fighter, and you got to give credit where credit's due. And he has immense talent, and he's it's impressive the way that he sticks to game plans, the way he's able to implement game plans. When Volkanovski fights, the thing I respect about it the most is it doesn't seem to be that much chaos. Like, this sport is so chaotic. Being in a cage locked in with another dude can be so chaotic. So would you see him fight the way he fights, where he seems to be in real control for a lot of the fights? Very impressive. So yeah, shout out to him.
How do you think he does against Ilia Topuria, if that is next?
That's exciting, man. Topuria's really, really good. Topuria's got very, very good boxing, from the very good defensive wrestling from the looks of it. So hard to bet against Volk at this point, you know. But Topuria's tough. I'm not sure. To be completely honest, I learn by studying my contemporaries. I watch what they do. I take mental notes on everybody. Obviously, everyone does that. But I learn by watching, and when I watch them on fight night, like, I just watch the way everybody else would. You know, I'm not super, unless you're my teammate, you know, like Josh Emmett or Darren Elkins, I'm screaming at the TV, throwing things. I'm, like, standing up, pacing around the room. But if you're another guy at 45, I just watch like anybody else watches. So I'm not sure how that fight will go, but it'll be fun to watch.
And last one, you mentioned Max Holloway, and again, someone that you've been in there with.
Yeah.
He's got a fight coming up against the Korean Zombie. How do you think that goes down?
Yeah, Max all the way. Max, yeah. If Max is fighting, I'm rooting for him. That's the homie. I got a lot of love for Max.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Andre, you mentioned being in the UFC for nearly 10 years now. Other than, say, trying to go for a belt and stuff like that, what is there left for you to kind of achieve? Is there anything kind of on the list that you want to tick off, a fight in a certain place or anything like that?
No, I've kind of, other than being a world champion, like I'm going to be the UFC featherweight world champion. I know this in my heart. I believe this. My team believes this. I know that I have the skills to beat anyone in the world. I fought in some of the best guys in the world in close fights. Some of them I've won, some of them I lost. I'm ready to make this run and go get that belt. So that's the top of the sport. That's the checklist. To me, everything else is bonus points. It's all fun. Like we're going to fight in England, cool. We're going to fight in Vegas, cool. We're going to fight over here, cool. We're going to fight this guy, cool. I don't have. I've let go a lot of my obsessive compulsive trying to control like this neurotic thing where you try to make everything fit. You just take things as they come, man. Like you do your best and you be present in the moment and you take things for what they are and everything works out. So for me, it's like I'm going to be a world champion. This is the goal. This is what I'm going to manifest into reality, and all the details leading up to it, they'll come as they come, and I'll deal with them as they are.
And I'm a fan of a really good pun, and your nickname is one of my favourite
You like
nicknames
that
in
one,
the
huh?
UFC.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. Is there a story behind it, or is it just a good pun?
I mean, it's a good pun, but it's also just that, like, I'm a feeler. Like, I'm a sensitive guy. I'm not the typical fighter guy. Like, I'll cry at a movie. You know what I mean? I'm very affectionate, and like, Megan O'Leary gave me that actually. Joe B's wife. Yeah, she started calling me that, and it just stuck instantly. And if you like a good pun, you got to talk to Michael Malott, because that guy's a machine, dude. Walk around with Mike Malott for like. He's in my corner this weekend. He's one of my best friends in fighting, man. He's a great person. It's my brother. Talk to Michael Malott for about 10 minutes and you'll get 10 puns. Like he's a machine. I've never seen anything like it. I'm not a pun guy, but that guy lives for it. For it.
I'll have to do that.
World-class pun guy, yeah.
Well, just off the back of you saying about the kind of emotional side of things, is there a movie that makes you cry a lot?
What movie doesn't? Dude,
the beginning of Up, maybe, or
Up? Oh, break your heart, dude. La La Land. Have you seen La La Land?
I have, yeah.
I'll put my fucking head through the wall, dude. Oh God, La La Land. What else? Babe, what's another movie that we watched recently? We just watched one, and I was like, "What was the movie we just watched in theaters?" Oh, Spider-Verse? Dude, I watched... Dude, all the Miles Morales family stuff? Dude, I'm a huge comic book guy. My office in my house is just like one wall is just every like video game system I've ever owned. Like I have my PS1 from 1996, the first PS1 I ever got. So I have PS1 through 5. I have a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis. That's one wall, and then the rest of the walls are just covered in they're just comic book shelves for comic books. So I'm a huge comic book guy. So I was gonna go watch Spider-Verse anyways. I'm a huge Marvel guy. I was gonna go watch people say, "Oh, I'm a huge Marvel guy" because they watch the movies. That's cool. But I have I have a room dedicated to comic books. So I'm a huge Marvel guy and a huge DC guy and a huge Image Comics guy, and just comics in general. And so I was gonna go watch Spider-Verse anyways. But it had no business making me cry the way that it did. Because it's a fucking cartoon. It should not have made me cry the way it did.
Love it. Thanks very much, man.
Thank you. Anybody? We're done? Good? I don't want to talk to you guys anyways.